Okay, so today we're going to be working on assignment 12, number one specifically to begin. We're going to do the body of the assignment 12 assembly. And this is my second time recording because I did have SolidWorks crash and I lost all my progress. So just a friendly reminder to make sure to save your work uh, whenever you can. So if we start by making a new part file, right? Let's make sure our units are in millimeters. And let's do a sketch. For this one, I would do it on the top plane, which would be this view. Start by making your squares. So we have a, zoom out. We have a 150 by 150 square. And we also have a 116 by 116 square. And this 116 by 116 square is just for construction. So we know where to reference these circles. So mark it as for construction. We could place our circles there. So we have one circle that is a 28 in diameter, and we have another that is 17. So we have a 28 diameter circle, have 17 circle. And now that we have one of them, we can copy these to the other corners. So if we use copy, I want to copy the circle from to, so from its center to the new position, and then do that again, but this time do both of them at the same time. Again, from two, and then that way we can get the bottom set. What else? We need two circles in the middle. One is of diameter 60, and the other should be diameter, where is it? Oh, it's actually not given to you in this drawing. But do like 23.5. Oh, we also have another circle from the middle or from the center. This one has a diameter of 120, but this one is for construction, which we'll use later. I think that's it. Let's do our extrusions now. Now the first extrusion, it's gonna be the main body minus the counter bores. This one I would do it down so we can use the same sketch for our counter bores later. So down 25 units. Okay, that looks fine. You could also show a sketch. So if you right click on it, you could show it. And then that way, whenever we do our second extrusion from the same sketch, we get to see what we're clicking on. So this one would be the 9 units that we have to go up. And the reason I got 9 is because it's overall 34 minus 25. So 34 minus 25 is 9. Actually, I just realized we can combine this into one maybe. Let's see. Let's not delete this. Let me suppress this for now. Just leave it there just in case. Let's go back into our first extrusion. Can we do a second direction? Yes. Oh, but it's gonna have to be based off the selections as well. So no, cannot. So let me go back and then unsuppress this. Let's do an extrude cut for our counterbores. Right, you're still using the same sketch. This one is just for the counter bores, like I said. And those are going to be 15 units down. All right. Okay, so the next part we could do is these little divots, which are shown in this section view. So for me, I have my front plane um, splitting my part down the middle, my right plane as well. So I can use one of those two. If you don't have them, create one with reference geometry. But you need a plane in this area. So, and we could also do is, so it looks exactly like the drawing that you have, is you can make your own section view. You don't have to, but you can. And now when I do my sketch on my front plane, it'll look the same. Um, so this is the circle that we had earlier that we need to use for reference. So if I reference that circle, I can make, let's call it a midpoint line. So make a midpoint line. Before I dimension it, uh, can I can. Let me fix its center so it doesn't move on me. And then now when I add the dimension of 10, which is shown here. Okay, cool. That's there. Maybe now it'd be good for me to go back into this view. So there's the line at the top. I have two lines which add up to 90 degrees. See, how can I do this? So you have two lines here. I don't know their length exactly. Um, but I do know if they both add up to 90 degrees, then each of them has to be at 45 degrees. So by looking at this line, if I make it vertical, is going to be 270. So if I make that and then change the angle to 270 plus 45, well, it actually has I have to delete this vertical first. Now I should be able to add the 45 degrees. Do the same thing on the other side. Maybe this time make it a little bit longer. So if vertical was 270, I believe. Yeah, this time subtract 45. There that is. And then you can extend it into each other, trim. And just to double check, you can check your angle in between them. This should be at 90. Um, Also, assuming it is symmetrical, then these should be of the same length. So 7.07 and 7.07, so they are the same length. That's good. Um, let's see if we can't revolve cut this. So this is our region, or revolve cut 360 degrees. Axis of revolution would be going down the middle. I don't have one. Maybe I should draw one first. Let's go back to our sketch. We're already in our sketch. Let's sketch us an axis. Um, doesn't really matter what kind of line. We just need one line to mark our axis. So for construction, the length really doesn't matter either. Just enter some length. And now we should be able to revolve cut it. So we'll go to revolve cut. Make sure this is line, yep, line 5. Um, If you go 360 degrees, you only have to select one region, like one side of it. You don't have to do both. Uh, And then we finish that. And then we take a look, make sure everything looks fine. And it does. Um, so this, now that we have one of them done, we can pattern this over. Oh no. Okay, so I had SolidWorks crash again. Uh, so just save your work. I had to do this all over again. I think this is where we left off. Let's see. I'm not sure if we had the color on there or not. But we can go to appearances, click on the color. I think this orange kind of matches the best. It doesn't have to be perfect. We had one divot made. What I wanted to show you guys is that we can pattern them. So in this case, it would be a circular pattern. The direction is going to be that reference circle that we have, or if you can, just select uh, a circular face. We want four of these total, equally spaced. What do we want to do? We want to do these. That cut revolve that we just did. I believe that's it. So there you go. You have those patterned. Oh, I'm missing my counter bores. I don't know if I had that. I think I had that done previously. But if you go to extrude cut, find the sketch that we initially made, and then let's pick the counter bores to be cut out. Those would be 15. So there are our counter bores. It's pretty much almost done. I don't believe I need this sketch, so I can hide it. Um, it's not given to you in the drawing, right? There's the chamfer like value isn't given to you, but if we look at this picture close enough, we can kind of see a little bit of a chamfer at both ends. So let's just add something. Let's add a chamfer to this face. 1.5 would be okay, I think. Yeah, that looks about right. Now we have a chamfer on both of those ends. And then finally, we need to add a thread. Uh, so if you go to tools, let's see. Let me full screen this. Let's find that thread tool. Let's see. It's not sketch. Give me a second to find that. Okay, so it's right here under the hole wizard. Go to thread, hit OK. Let me pop this and put this back up. Okay, so the thread we want to start making is here. No, that's the wrong edge. Might be this one. Oh, yep, Sonic face. Let's see, what's the end condition? Up to selections I would do in this case, and that way we can select the bottom. So up to this point here. Um, what else can we change? Might need an offset, but I'll check on that later. Again, since we're making threads in a hole, we need a tap, not a die. A metric tap to be specific because we're using metric standards. Our thread size is M22 by 1.5, so that's good. We're cutting the threads on this case. Let me finish that and see what it looks like. Yeah, it looks like we might need to offset this, which is fine. Let's go back into our feature and let's create an offset. Just doing the opposite direction. So an offset up some distance that gets you past the chamfer. And then we'll do the same thing on the bottom. Just do an offset of some distance. Let me check to make sure it's, yep, going in the right direction. So that's fine. And then with that offset, now we should have a nice clean entrance into our threads. Let's see. Yep, which should be right here. You can see it on this side. Whoops. Rotate this by hand, but you see the nice clean start of our thread there. So I believe that's all you need for problem number one. See, we got our counter bores, holes, thread, divots. Let me check my section view. Does that look right? Yeah, divots, counter bore. Okay, yeah, I think that's it for this problem. If you haven't already noticed, most of these have they kind of have two parts that are more or less the same, right? Like you have two plates, two studs, two bolts, two knobs. So I'll be going through half of these, and then the other half would be for you guys to figure out. So for example, I did number one, and then number two is a similar concept, so now it's up to you guys to go do number two. Um, yeah, all right, so that was number two, or I'm sorry, number one.